because we all had a job to do, when I came into it, it wasn't as, I think, there were some biases and things that you had to deal with, right? But all in all, because of the workload, there was a lot of camaraderie and support to get the job done. While generally I was usually the only Black person in the room, I was the only one that was given a task. And, no matter where I went, that's pretty much, it was just me. And, but what I did was I always made sure that I found the right managers. I always made sure that it was somebody that I worked with, somebody that I could trust. Because the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to bring in the race scenarios when it's about just common everyday biases. People not understanding why you like to go get your coffee before you do the first thing on the computer, right? Understanding, what are some of these things that what is the intricacies that you have, about your birthdays and things like that, right? So it's really important to understand and have somebody to work that you work for that you can trust. Because when you have that, you can rule out many of the other issues that you have to deal with. And don't make it about race, don't make it about color, but make it about the technology and make it about us collectively. Because like I said earlier, the more I learn about you, the more you're going to learn about me, because it's just the nature of the beast. And I think that as we build that and work that into our workplace, that we become more curious. Dr. Bloom said, that curiosity was something that we could all use, because as long as we remain curious, we remain focused on a goal versus focus on our differences, right? And that's where we run into issues. When differences and issues happen, you deal with it, nip it in the bud. And sometimes it took me being the bigger person. Sometimes it took me talking to someone to help coach us through it. But never let it just fester or blow up into something that becomes out of control. But I found that within my career that while there were biases and things that I had to deal with, because I was focused on progress, I was focused on solutions, I was focused on winning, I was focused on people, I found that it was less impactful in a negative way. And I was always positioned to have a positive impact from our differences.
I guess I always viewed my ability to do what I wanted to in this space as possible. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that I grew up in Atlanta. I'm gonna put that plain and simple. Is like most of my life, I saw African-American people able to do everything. And so there was never a doubt that, I could do science, or I could be an architect if I wanted to, or a lawyer or an engineer, like whatever it was, I saw it. I think at an early age, I was introduced to different perspectives on life from people that didn't look like myself. And I'm very thankful to my parents for that, because I think that's gotten me a long way in just understanding how different individuals think and just different perspectives of the world. I think that will sometimes allow you to keep race out of certain conversations, because you're just understanding personal perspective based on sometimes just geography. But then every now and then, you will have to deal with it. Someone thinking like, well, do you know this? Do you actually know what you're talking about? And it's just because they haven't seen it. They're not used to it. And so I kind of put that on myself to show them, yeah, I do know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to be the one example of, what you don't think is realistic in this space. And you'll probably end up finding more because of that. And I think I also kind of have a duty in this space to pull others up that look just like me. I think, the NBA is not short of having diversity and having African-American men in a number of different types of roles in addition to playing the game. So using that as a platform to pull others up and show them that there are other avenues, even within something that is so admirable and sexy to the world, to play the sport, but you can also do things around it that don't even involve dribbling the basketball, and you can be Black or any other race.